Oh, wow. We're at the end of the video and I never introduced who you were.
I guess. Hi, my name is. Did you come up with a title for this series? Just
Uh,
random thoughts or whatever?
I was gonna do like Log Horizon review. That was the title I had in mind. I don't have a name for the series. It's like, oh, the Patreon what's it?
Monthly marathon. Call it that.
The monthly marathon. Maybe. I don't know.
It's
Eh.
got alliteration. That's primo.
The Mathwiz monthly marathon. There we go. We got the best things work in threes. So there we go. Came up with that name on the
Perfect.
spot, and I guess that's the intro. We have started now. Hello and welcome. We're talking about Log Horizon. This is the show where I do the monthly Patreon polls, and people help me comb through my backlog. And we did Isekai for, I think this was the February poll, and I'm just so far behind that it's like almost April, and we're now getting to it. But hey, that goes to show I wasn't super interested in marathoning through Log Horizon. How did you feel about the show?
I thought it was all right. I thought it was fairly standard in terms of like anime production values. Like it wasn't exceptional in any way. The story was good. I wouldn't call it exceptional. Like it's for me, it was above average, but not exceptional.
Now,
So,
what kind of experience do you have with isekai? Because I know I've gone on record saying that like I've only seen maybe like a handful of isekai. Like I could probably count them all off on one hand.
uh, I've really only seen. Well, I've seen ReZero. What other like straight up East guys I've seen? I haven't actually watched Sword Art Online, so there's that. I've seen the first episode of Escaflowne. I haven't watched Overlord, so I really haven't had that much experience with isekai as a genre. So this is probably the first one I've watched to completion that I've like actually liked, because I wasn't that big of a fan of ReZero.
Yeah,
But
I did see. I've seen like Re Zero, No Game No Life, Konosuba.
oh, actually, I've seen No Game in Life. Oh, and Konosuba as well. Fuck, I love Konosuba. So yes, I have had some isekai that I've loved.
I don't know. My stance on isekai still pretty much the same. Sorry, Digi, best isekai still not doing a whole lot for me. In general, though, I did like a lot of what this show brought to the table. I can't really speak much in terms of like general isekai tropes or trends, but I did like how the video game integration was well integrated, I suppose. I liked all the character designs. There was a lot of really unique, like it. I don't know. Digi probably describes it better in some of his videos, but no two characters really look the same. Like they all feel pretty distinct. They've got their own cool designs, and some of them are like really influenced by, or maybe most of them. I'm not super familiar with like the adventure video game stuff either, but stuff like Class kind of plays into their costume designs. They all just look really distinct and cool. And even if like the
Yeah, the
animation may not
character
be,
designs were certainly.
yeah, like it's not super noteworthy animation wise, but I think when you do have to kind of consider that there are all these different character designs that you got to work with and try to animate, I think that's reasonable that it's a little more standardized.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I think the character designs were certainly one of the best aspects. I wasn't there wasn't really a character design I didn't like. I think I liked all of them really. They're all really well done. I especially liked like uh Akatsuki's design. I thought like the whole aesthetic that she is going for was done really well.
Yes, it was really good. And one thing I didn't pick up on that I know Digi was one of the main points I took away from Digi's video on it. Her costume was kind of like redesigned from when in the very first episode. It's in the first episode we first introduced to her, but she I guess played as like a male character, so she had this big bulkier outfit, and apparently like that gets like her design throughout the rest of the series was like that costume just like repurposed, like you can tell by like the colors and whatnot and the shape of everything. She's got like the baggy pants which were kind of left over when I didn't notice that when I was watching it, so I thought that was a
It's a really
cool.
cool detail.
Yes, paying close attention to the details. Yeah. overall, I think the general aesthetic of this show, it is really carried by all the different character designs. Like I said, it's not super distinct in the visual department. It's, I don't know, nothing really to. It's just kind of the average anime look, but I do think that all the character designs help it pop a little more.
For sure.
And I guess if I don't know, isekai, probably one thing you want to look for in an isekai is good world building. And as I said earlier, the way that all the video game mechanics are kind of integrated on it and like spun on their head. I don't know. I'm not great with bringing things up and not getting too deep into spoilers, so I don't know how long I'll be able to hold up the spoiler-free tag in this. See, I got to figure out how the structure of this series will work. So we'll learn as we go.
This is the test run.
Yeah, this is the test run.
I definitely say like the world building was really well done in Log Horizon. It was very well thought out and like characteristic of the kind of video game that it's emulating. So I feel like they nailed it in that department in terms of like trying to capture the feel of playing an RPG MMO. So yeah, world building, they definitely nailed it.
It does strike a good balance between like still carrying across the feeling that you're in a video game, but also adapting the video game logic to it's because this has almost like become their real world setting. Like they are living in this game world, and it strikes a good balance of this is still a video game, and we have to figure out how all the logic and the mechanics of this game would apply now that we're living here, and sort of explore the politics of that. So yeah, I think that was probably the most interesting aspect of the show, was seeing them explore this kind of political slant, and having to converse with all the NPC characters who they're called the people of the land. And so there's like a cool political aspect of them having to like live alongside each other and figuring out how all that affects the setting. I don't know. There's a lot of really neat, like if you're more into video games than I am, you'd probably have a blast with this show. I'm not much of a gamer either, so there's only so much I can take away from these things. But ultimately, I'm gonna keep rambling.
Don't worry.
So
Just continue with your thought. I wouldn't say that I was like super into MMOs, but like it definitely made me think about like all the moments that I've had in playing multiplayer games, with all of the different stories that like players come up with, and like all the different events and guilds and things. That kind of feeling is evoked really well by the show, and I think that's probably the strongest aspect in terms of like feeling the things is making you feel like you're part of the story, and that there's lots of like it reminds you of like all the stories that you've had with your friends and the people online that you've met. That's probably my favorite aspect of the show, is that kind of feeling that it gives you.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Because all these characters are very experienced players. Like, I guess that's one of the selling points for this show as well, is that the characters all start at like level 90, so you can tell that they're pro at this game. Like they know what they're doing, and they've been around each other for so long, and you can feel that connection. You can feel, and even when it's not like the high level players, like there are there's more than two characters, but there are the lower level players who they got to train, and it's just a real cool community that this show develops. And with all the cool character designs, it really feels like a good world, a good cast of characters. Honestly, it's fine. It's a fine show. I gave it like a 7, which is, it's good. Probably not going to rush to rewatch it.
I've been singing its praises, but I also gave it a 7 because I just don't think it's exceptional. I think it is very good at what it wants to do, but I think it, like, in a lot of areas, it kind of falls short. And for me, like, there's just so many better shows that you can watch. But it's if you're looking for that specific appeal, I think that it nails that appeal. So that's probably why Digi loves it so much, is because on that specific note of appeal, it hits the nail on the head. But for a lot of other aspects that maybe you like really wanted to see in an anime, or like just a show in general, it doesn't quite nail those aspects as well.
All right. Do you have anything else pre-spoilers to say? Because I'm ready to just open up talk on, I don't know, everything.
That's probably it for pre-spoilers. That's probably a good overall picture of the show without mentioning anything specific.
So yeah, if you're just here to figure out if you somehow haven't seen Log Horizon already, because I feel like it's one of the more popular isekai, it's gonna get a recommendation from me, not a super high one. And if you just want to know my thoughts on it, then there you go. It's okay, it's fine. But with that out of the way, I guess we can talk into the spoilers, so we can go more into the plot and stuff. I will say one of the things that I did like, well, I mean, there were a lot of, more specifically, like when it comes to those video game elements being integrated, I think one of my favorite parts of the show was the big twist with Rundle House, Rudy, when they have to like, it was a moment that had like a decent bit of build up. It takes all like the previous moments of, here we're going to dabble with minor things in the game, like, oh, food is tasteless, but if you cook it, like if you actually cook it and don't use the menus and whatnot, then it's good. And so you get like these slow little tiny tidbits of world building, and then you build up to, here's this character who, big plot twist, he's actually a person of the land. He's not an adventurer. He's not like an actual, video game player. I guess the interesting thing was that, like, people of the land, the NPCs, if they die, they're dead. But if you're an adventurer, a player, then if you die, you just respawn in the cathedral. So it's not like the Sword Art Online, oh, if you die in the game, you die in real life and you're dead and it's over. You don't die if you're killed in this game. You live on, but you do lose some memories. So I do like that aspect of it, that there's still like a consequence for dying, but it's also not big death game like how Sword Art Online wanted to do it. And there is a certain appeal to that kind of story, but I feel like with what Log Horizon was going for, and just kind of creating this community and this political sort of narrative, I feel like a death game like that would have, I don't know, maybe weighed it down.
Yeah, I feel like definitely Log Horizon was going for like a lighter tone than a lot of the death game isekai that have been popularized. So I think that definitely was a really wise decision in terms of trying to make the stakes lighter rather than like super heavy, because like it's definitely going for a lighter tone. It's not trying to be super dark and edgy and everything serious all the time. It's more of a, this is a fun world and we're gonna have fun and we're gonna do fun things, and we're also gonna try and build a better world because that's what we do.
Yeah, it's fun. And I kind of derailed myself earlier because I do that. I'll go off if you don't stop me. I'll just keep going and I'll be like, wait, how did I get here? But with Rudy, I think he's probably my favorite character in the show, maybe. I never got super attached to any of the characters, really. But
maybe that's because he could die. And so you were just like, oh, the stakes here.
Yes, I thought he was just a normal person, and then out of nowhere, boom, oh no, he's dead. But that was a really cool twist. I'll be interested to see, because there is a season 2, and so I'd be interested to see, although I doubt that this story is even finished in season 2, so I don't quite know.
The light novels are still going, so there's a lot of story left.
So this is a thing that I'd be interested to see explored, in the late game. Like, oh, when we figure out how to get out of this world, because we still don't even know really how they came to be in this world, how this video game became.
Yeah, they kind of just left that one hanging.
Yeah. So I'd be interested to see the ramifications of Rudy being turned into an adventurer, a player character, when he's not actually real. He's not a real person. So,
Did he gain a soul?
Yeah, like, when these people will eventually have to leave the game, they're going to have to leave him behind, I'd assume, unless somehow breaking the game logic.
Unless he gains a real boy body.
Maybe.
That could happen.
Yeah, maybe. You never know how they could spin that one. But yeah,
there's a lot of options. Like, it could go in any direction. Depends how tragic they want to make it.
That is true. Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure what the big theme for Log Horizon is, which is maybe why I don't know. It's like when I'm weird where I can find a theme in a show. That's when like all of a sudden, oh, I'm way more interested in it now because now I gotta explore every aspect to figure out how it plays into the theme.
I would say the general underlying theme is probably community, and that like they're trying to figure out how to create a stable community and improve the community. So like that's probably the main underlying theme of Log Horizon is community and how people live together, I guess.
So what would you say? I know I said my favorite character is probably Rudy. Who is your favorite character in the show and why? I guess.
Well, Rudy and I can't remember her name, but the adventurer who's with him, they're definitely my favorite pair because they're adorable.
They're good. I love how she just sees him as like this adorable dog. Like he's out here trying to be all cool and flamboyant and oh I'm the pretty boy, but he just it fails completely and she just sees him as this cute dog who's like trying to get attention. It's great.
He's trying his best.
He's trying his best, and damn it if he doesn't succeed by the end because he becomes a real adventurer. He becomes not a real boy but a real adventurer, and it's good.
I think the show's strengths rely less on like individual characters but more character dynamics, because I think that Minori and Shiro's dynamic, I think that's quite interesting, and like something that I kind of liked was the whole like she sees Shiro for like being this like mentor and someone she respects and looks up to, but like she's really upset that not everyone else sees him that way, so she really wants to like make other people see him how she does, how she sees him.
Yeah, he does develop this reputation as the villain in glasses, and I mean like rightfully so. His big moment at the beginning was like he bought the bank or whatever, and so like oh if you don't do what I say, you just can't access your inventory, your money, anything. You're just kind of out of luck, so you kind of got to do what I say. So yeah, he can be a little ruthless.
Do the ends justify the means? That's the real question.
But no, yeah, I was a little off put by the way that direction ended up going, because I don't know, I must not have been fully understanding the bigger picture of things. But there was that one episode. Well, it was more, I think, just maybe like plot fatigue for me, because we had there was like the opening arc where it set the thing up with like the food, and then we moved into the political drama with first it was with the adventurers and forming the round table, and then we moved into the conflict with the people of the land, and it's like, oh, we have to try to work with this kingdom and figure out how we're going to be able to coexist with them, and then that just kind of gets sidelined for this war with these goblin people, this goblin tribe, and I figure this is all more just trying to set things up for the future, and more of this stuff is going to get explored later. But none of it really
kind of
feels...
never resolved the whole Goblin King event.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it's obvious there's supposed to be more there, because they never even fought the Goblin King. But even to, like, conclude this little mini arc, even if it's just kind of a setup for something bigger, there isn't much of a payoff. Like, the politics stuff just kind of derails into the action fighting with the goblins, and then that just kind of ends abruptly.
Yeah. Just kind of fizzles.
So I wasn't too big of a fan of the structure of things. But then after like the goblin thing just kind of fizzled out, then we got the like love triangle for a bit, and I think that's why I was initially kind of sour on that development, because I was like, what are we doing? Is this how we're gonna end the season?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I wasn't bothered by it because like I felt like there was like it wasn't like a traditional love triangle per se. It was more like Minori. I don't think Minori ever had like any intention of romancing Shiro. She just like really respected him, and like she didn't really know how to process that. So I felt like that was kind of like her character in that instance, was trying to process what her feelings about Shiro actually were. Akatsuki was definitely in love with Shiro, but you know, I feel like that makes sense. But
Yeah,
Maybe we don't really know much of their history. We don't really find anything out about their history. She was just in his party at the start of the game, and she has just decided to be his servant. I don't really know why that decision was made by her. Like, I feel like we could have explored her character a lot more
see,
as to why she decided to make that decision.
see, on one hand, I see this as just like, oh, because my original thought process was, oh, this is just like the underdeveloped. Oh, we're gonna shoehorn in the romance, and this is why she's here. But then again, this show has been kind of pulling a One Piece in that it will kind of hint at little details early on, and they won't be significant immediately, but they'll come back later. And you mentioned it, how they're already in a party together. Like there was the now deformed debauchery tea party where they had that group and they were just kind of, the beasts of the game. They were taking everybody out. And so it does leave, I guess, room for the imagination. Are there, like, we've already kind of started at a point where these characters already have history with each other. So that's a backstory I guess they could, the writers could really dig into anytime they wanted. So maybe there's something that will come up in season 2 or even further in the light novels that will kind of dig into that more. So I've softened my stance on that ship. I figured, well, I'll withhold judgment for now because maybe I should give the show a little more credit. Maybe there's going to be more coming later on. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. I don't know. I think Akatsuki felt like she got a bit underserved in the character development and like intrigue department, compared to a lot of the other main characters. Natsuko also kind of got shafted a bit. I feel like the characters that we kind of started with just kind of got sidelined by the end because there were just so many side plots and side characters that all got the spotlight for like most of the show that the characters that we started with kind of just faded into the background a bit. So
yeah,
that's kind of one issue with the structure.
Yeah, maybe that was more why I'm just kind of meh on the show, is there are a lot of interesting characters that get brought in, and maybe this first season was just meant to really put the pieces on the chessboard, just kind of set everything up, set everything into place, and maybe it'll go into more detail later. But yeah, I feel like, yeah, you did kind of say it. Those original characters didn't have a whole lot to do. Yeah, like Akatsuki is present for most of the, like she's always around Shiroi for the most part, and not much in the screen time that she gets. You feel like maybe she'd have a little more to do, but no, a lot of that screen time is handed off to terrible jokes, like the orange-haired girl constantly harassing her, or the Naotsugu making panty jokes and then getting kneed in the face. Which, God, that joke was never funny.
Didn't get all the toll.
Just kept driving it into the ground.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the humor in this show. I did laugh a few times, but it wasn't generally at the stuff that was actually jokes. It was more like character moments where they were like very in character, like when Shiro did something sneaky or manipulative and he just kind of did that cheeky smile that he does where he knows he knows what he's doing, and I laughed at those moments a lot more than I laughed at the moments that were intended to be like funny, because as you said, those jokes got old before they even really got new. To be honest, I didn't really gel with the humor at all.
Comedy is not Log Horizon's strong suit. Like it has its moments every now and then, but yeah, I mean, it's not great. You were talking about Shiro just having these moments, and I'm reminded of all the times. My joke was, oh, if you wanna die, take a shot every time a character in this series pushes up their glasses menacingly. There was even a point where...
And if you don't have glasses, you can gain temporary glasses power by air glasses.
Yeah, there was the one girl whose name I can't remember, but she did it too, and she didn't even have glasses, and it's like, oh no, the infection is spreading. It's like a disease.
It's the only way to look cool. You got to push up your glasses if you know you're doing something cool.
I think another thing that I found interesting that helped me get through some of the earlier episodes before the pieces started falling into place. But I did notice that more I was just able to recognize a lot of the voice actors in this show. Because I'd be like, oh, this character or this person did this character in this other show. Like, I'm so terrible with remembering characters' names in this show. But the red-haired girl, the cute one who's always fawning over Nyanta-san, she is played by the same person who did Hisone in Hisone to Masatan. And she's always great. Her voice, she's really good at portraying those cute characters. I wouldn't say this is her best role, but man, this little girl, she's a cinnamon bun. Protect her. She's good. There's I'm okay. Let me pull up the Mal. I am doing a very bad job.
Sarara.
I don't even remember which one.
As Nyanta says.
Yes, Sarara-san. That was her. Minori, that's right. She is voiced by the same person who plays Emiru in Hugto Precure, and so that helped me get attached to her character relatively quickly because I was like, hey, I recognize that voice, and that's good enough for me.
The voice acting was pretty good as well. Just in general, the voice acting was pretty stellar throughout.
Yes.
It wasn't like, I say stellar. It wasn't like I wasn't wowed by any of it, but it was all just like really solid throughout the whole thing. There wasn't any weak cast members, I would say, throughout the whole thing. I was all pretty solid, is what I would say.
The princess is voiced by one of my favorites in anime, Maria Issei, same voice actor who did, or voice actress, whatever. Yeah, the same woman who played Killua in Hunter x Hunter. So that's like an immediate, yes, this character is good. There were a bunch of characters. Minori's sister. Wait, sister? I did not say sister. I meant brother. How did I screw that up? Oh no. Whose name I'm also forgetting was voiced by the same guy who does Deku. So yeah, there's a lot of voices I was able to recognize, and it was fun just playing like, oh, who's that voice? Who's that Seiyu?
Who's that Seiyu?
And I mean, with the art style, there's it may not do anything like super impressive visually, like besides character designs looking neat. There aren't too many shots where it's like, oh, look at the colors in this shot. But it is good at looking cute when it needs to. Akatsuki generally has some good moments where, like, when she gets surprised and she's like sitting or whatever, she'll just like hop into the air. Or there's one scene where she's just like rolling around on the floor. And I don't know, she's just animated really well, and it's cute and good.
Yeah, it leaps into the anime aesthetic full force in the moe scenes and the comedy scenes.
So yeah, it definitely
it pulls it off quite well.
It leans into the anime otaku style. Sometimes that's good, sometimes not so much. Like all the recurring jokes of Naotsuku getting kneed in the face.
Yeah, I kind of wish, like, I've said it before, but I really wish our main characters had got a little bit more screen time and character development in those 25 episodes. But, you know, I guess you can't have everything.
Were there any particular moments that stood out to you that you wanted to mention that you've been kind of sitting on for now?
We've kind of mentioned the world building, but it's better. It's also good to mention, like, just like the tactics that they use in the show are quite interesting as well, in terms of like, especially earlier on, they use like actual tactics to win fights, which isn't something you normally see in anime in particular. It's more just like, how can we power up to win this fight, instead of like, how can we plan carefully which order we're going to be using all of our moves in to carefully maximize our potential. And it works because, like, these people have been playing together on this game for like years, so they know each other's moves inside and out. So it's not just like out of nowhere suddenly they're synchronized swimmers or whatever. They just like know each other really well and can carefully and accurately know what each other is going to do at any given time, and they can predict like what moves they should be using in the situation to lead to the best outcome.
Yeah, you even get something like that with a less experienced player like Serada when she's just kind of working with Shiroi, and he is basically, he's controlling everything as he does because that's who he be. And so she's just like, I'll just heal. I'll just do this. And yeah, you've got I forget what the term was that they used, but you saw Minori kind of following in Shiro's footsteps, and she had her own party going with the I know you weren't too fond of the newbie players trying to kind of learn how to video game better, but I do think they served as kind of an interesting, because we are following main characters who are skilled veterans at this game. It seems they've been playing it for years. They know what they're doing. It was interesting to see these other characters who are trying to now live in this world that they've been sucked into, but they don't have all the means that the more advanced players do. They have to kind of, like, they were just learning how to figure out the game and manage to get through the game, and then they get brought in for real. There was one interesting detail that I almost forgot about because it's never really addressed, but there is the one shot with Minori and Toya, that's his name. I think it was like a shot of the real world where it looked like he was in a wheelchair, and there was like a shot then afterwards of him like walking around in the Elder Tale world. So they didn't really address it, but I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for, that, he can't walk in the real world. And so this is, maybe they'll explore it more. But I just thought it was neat.
That sounds like something they definitely explore down the line, like why people joined the game, like why people spent their time to join the game. That's probably something that they'll want to explore down the line, because it's like why they chose to be a part of this world rather than real world kind of thing. So like why they chose it. That sounds like something that's definitely going to be explored down the line in the second season of the light novels potentially.
I'm not making up that shot of him in the wheelchair, am I? You saw that too, or am I making things up? I
honestly don't remember it. I was quite like, wait, that was a thing? But it's possible I missed it and just completely forgot about it, or something like that.
I should have screen capped it to double check. I'm pretty sure it happened though. Other cool things I wanted to mention. I like the one scene where they were like the adventurers met up with the people of the land, and they were in that like it was in the palace. There was like a ballroom, and they had to like dance, and the one girl used her class or her subclass or whatever because Shiroi is like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And so she just kind of pulls him out there, and she's like, hey, I'm going to help you do this with my class. And that was neat. Again, just a very minor interaction, but it's integrating that video game logic. So that was cool. I took the screen cap of the out of context, surviving in this world costs too little money, because that was funny. But
did we go into detail about the contract that Shiro did? Like, I feel like that's probably the best example of them just abusing video game logic and like using the way that they set up how the system works so that like people can use their skills. If they have a high enough skill level, they can use their skills how like they would in the real world, and like they can make things that weren't in the game before.
Yeah,
and
like
Shiro,
they made like a Steam engine. Like that wasn't even possible in the original world, but they did that.
Yeah, exactly. So it was set up that this kind of thing was possible. So when Shiro realized this, he was like, I have a scribe skill. What can I use this for? And he thought, what if I write contracts? And my scribe skill is so high, these contracts become like universally binding with magic because I'm just so good at writing things. Like, and because of that was what he was able to use to turn Rudy into an adventurer, because his scribe skill is so high that he can rewrite the laws of the universe, because that's just how it works. Like the rules of how it will govern the world aren't explained, but they're at least consistent. So like it's kind of okay in that like they aren't, you don't know how they work, but they're consistent enough that you can guess how they work. And I feel like that's what allows it to work in the way that it does.
Yeah, that's one of the most interesting things about the show, is seeing them kind of contort these things from the game and figure out how to reapply them. And, well, because, I mean, yeah, because they are living in this world, so there are certain things that the game had never accounted for from that perspective because it was a video game. So, like in that instance where, hey, let's just turn this NPC character, this person of the land, let's just turn them into an actual adventurer where the mechanics of death are totally different. And so like you have this NPC who is like seeing the menu layout and it's like, whoa, this is not what I'm used to. But I'm interested to see what more they will do with that sort of thing, because there weren't too many instances of them doing anything super groundbreaking. We were kind of, we were seeing some more smaller stuff building up to it. And Log Horizon is decently good at building things up, even if I don't think that these opening arcs really had much of a payoff. It just seems like they're building up to more things. But yeah,
it definitely it feels like a show that's designed to go on for a long time, and that is evidenced by the fact that it is still going. So we probably won't get a lot of answers to our questions for probably several years to come, but we'll probably get them eventually, and we'll have to read all the light novels to find out.
Yeah, that's kind of the unfortunate thing, is Log Horizon only has 2 seasons, and I think the last season finished sometime in 2014. So probably not gonna get any more unless they do they kind of redo it somewhere down the road. I don't think I am that interested in the series to go check out the light novels, because that's a totally different medium switch. But maybe, I mean, I can definitely see why someone who was more into isekai than I am, or more into video games or whatever, I can see why someone would really like this show. I just get more, I don't know, I get my kicks more out of the action adventure stuff. So I'd rather go read something like One Piece 5 times or whatever, because I'm a crazy person. I don't know if there's anything much else I wanted to say about the series, because yeah, it's fine. It's good. I'm interested in, like, I'm just interested enough to check out the second season. But even then, it's like, I'm not gonna, I'm not in a huge rush to go check out season 2. I wasn't like enraptured with the story or the characters or anything. I'll probably finish season 2, and it might just blink off my radar. It's a series I will enjoy watching, but probably won't have much to say about it after the fact. You have any final thoughts on Log Horizon Season 1?
It's good. It's not great. That's pretty much it.
All right, we seem to be in agreement there. So, that appears to be it for this first edition of, what did we call it? Mathwiz Monthly Marathon? I actually remembered the title, I think. So that's...
Yay!
It's already a good first step. Next time, we will be covering the winner of the March poll, but we're not going to be covering it until... hopefully I'll be more on schedule, and we can do it, like, early April and not May. But the next one was actually a tie, because only 2 people voted on it, because I don't have... I don't know. I have more than 2 people who were eligible for the poll, but some people might not just check Patreon. So if you want to influence the vote of future decisions, become a patron. Give me money. But the next one will be... I'm going to make the call on the fly since it was a tie. I'm going to go with the shorter one, and we're going to be watching Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun, because it's cute, and it's a comedy, and that's been on my backlog for a while. So that's what we're going to do next. So...
Sweet.
I think that's about it from me. Oh, wow. We're at the end of the video, and I never introduced who you were. I
guess, hi, my name is Roggle. I mean, this is a bit late since you've been listening to me for 40 minutes, but that's cool.
Oh, no. I have failed you. I have failed everyone. The show is canceled. We're done. No. We're gonna be back next time.
Maybe you'll learn my backstory in the second season.
Maybe we will save that for future installments of this thing. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.